these are the gambler challenges. This is probably the worst challenge set in the game, but here we go. For Gambler 1, you just need to win 5 hands of poker in a row, so go to flat next station, Sander, Neil, Valentine, and go all in every time, and hopefully your opponent should just fold and you'll win the hand, and you repeat this 5 times. For Gambler 2, you need to double down and win the hand 5 times in blackjack. The easiest place to do this is in Rhodes, but I don't think there's any difference of Van Horn. But what I do is I just sit down and then double down by holding said button, no matter the hand. And if I bust or don't win, I just immediately stand up, as I do in the clip, and then I sit back down and I try again. And I keep doing this until I've completed the challenge. There's no better way to do this because this is completely random, but this is the best way to do it. For Gambler 3, you need to win 3 games of 5-finger fillet, so that means you need to win 2 rounds without losing a round. And as you can see here, my pattern here is actually X triangle, and this is the same for any round of 5-finger fillet. The pattern on round 1 will always be X and then another button. So it was X triangle there, and now it's X circle. You just do X triangle, X triangle, X triangle. And you repeat this until you win the 2 rounds, and then you just get off the table, leave the area, come back, and you do this 3 times, and you beat the challenge. For Gambler 4, you need to bust out 1 poker opponent in each location. So head to Flat Neck Station, then Valentine Saloon, and then the Sandalini Saloon. And the easiest way to do this is to go all in, and you're hoping that someone actually plays against you. And once they play against you, you need to win against them, and they will have no money left, which considers them bust out. And you do this at all 3 locations, and you beat the challenge. For Gambler 5, you need to win 3 rounds of dominoes without drawing any tiles against 2 or fewer opponents. So head to Emerald Station, because this is the best game of dominoes on the map, and simply keep riding the air, out of the air and coming back until there's only 1 opponent on the table. And then try and play the safest possible move so that you can always play on either end of the domino. And as soon as, if you do have to ever draw a tile, just simply stand back up, leave, and come back on the table and play the game again. And do this, playing the safest possible moves until you don't draw any tiles, which does involve a lot of luck, which is why this is bad, but do this 3 times and you beat the challenge. For Gambler 6, you need to beat the blackjack dealer in every location, which is at Rhodes or Van Horn. This is pretty self-explanatory. Once you have a score of like 14 or under, I think it's 50-50 whether you hit. So hit on 14 or lower, and if you're over 14, don't hit. And you just try and win. If you lose, stand up, as I do in the footage. Sit back down, keep doing this till you win against the dealer. And then do the same thing at Van Horn when you win, and you're done with this challenge, which is really easy.
19. Damn it. Nice. All right.
For Gambler 7, you need to beat the 5-finger fillet player in every location, which is at Van Horn, Valentine Saloon, and then Strawberry, opposite the Stagecoach location. So just you adopt the same strategy as before. The first round will always have X and then another button, or A and then another button, or whatever it is on PC. Do this, and do this for all 3 locations. Now, at Valentine, you may have trouble spawning someone, which is what I had. So the easy way to do this is head to the hotel at Valentine and rent the room out and sleep for as long as possible. You should sleep until the evening, and then the player will actually be there, and you do this until you win, and do this for all locations. For Gambler 8, you need to hit 3 times and win the hand 3 times in blackjack, which is probably the worst challenge in the game. So head to the blackjack location in Rhodes and play any hand that is 10 or under. In this case, my hand score was actually 16 at the start, because ace 5 can either be 16 or 6. But I busted, and as soon as you bust, you stand up, and you sit back down, and you do this for as long as it takes to complete the challenge. So here I get 20, so I stand up immediately. And on the next hand, I get 14, so I also stand up immediately. And you keep doing this until you actually complete the challenge. So here, I get 7, so I actually play. So I hit, and I hit again, and I get 21, which means I'm almost guaranteed to complete 1 of 3, which is pretty lucky, but it took me like 2 hours after this to complete the challenge, so it's completely random. But here I get 9, and then I get 13, and I get 20, and I get an ace, and I complete the challenge. So yeah, this is probably the one that will take you the longest. Either 8 or 9 will take you the longest. But after I'm done, I think I express my anger a little bit in the saloon because this took way too long and it is a well-deserved break from blackjack. Right, for Gambler 9, you need to win 3 games of dominoes in a row. The first thing I'm going to say, there actually is a trick. If you think you're going to lose, just stand up, leave the table, and sit back down, and you will not lose your progress. Don't try and save and load, though, because that won't work. But here's a classic strategy I adopt. I try and make both ends end in the same number, which forces my opponent to draw, because that means they can only play a 2, and if they don't have a 2, they want to draw. And the aim is you try and make them draw as many tiles, and you can get a domino, which means that you get all the score that is on their tiles. So here they had like 11 tiles or something, and I get 32 points off of their tiles, and you need to get to 60. So this can take a really long time to complete even one game, and you need to complete 3 games. So you kind of have to get lucky at the same time. But once again, this one, you can do the loophole trick. And here, what I do is I adopt the same strategy. I try and... Here I play a 2, because every possible number has 7 possibilities. So like 2, there's 7 possible dominoes with a 2 on. But here, I get lucky, and he plays a tile that allows me to play 6s on both ends, and he doesn't have a 6. So he has to draw. And that's basically the aim of completing this challenge. You need to try and make your opponent draw as much as possible. And if you do this enough, they will eventually draw enough tiles for you to get quite a big score. So here I get 14, which isn't substantial, but I'm now only 10 away. And I cut the footage here, and I actually managed to lose this one. But as long as you count up your tiles and they don't add up to get your opponent's score over 60, you're fine. So just play the hand again and play the game again, and here I just play the best possible moves to try and get like the same number on both ends. And as you see, they draw there, and then even I draw a little bit. But since their score is over 9, I complete 1 game of 3. So just remember, this one's going to take you some time, but it's nowhere near as bad as Gambler 8 because it's not as random. Right, so the last Gambler challenge, which is some reason nowhere near as bad as 8 or 9. You just have to win 3 games of poker in a row. The easiest way to do this is to go all in and hope all your opponents fold, and you do this 3 times. Now, interestingly in the footage here, I only win 2 times in a row, but it completes the challenge. Now, I think I have a reason for this. If you lose, but then you leave the table, it says in the stats that it doesn't save as a win, but it maybe secretly does. But it's very temperamental leaving to try and save your progress. So just do this, go all in, and hope your opponents fold 3 times in a row. If it doesn't work, just leave the area and come back and try again. It's a little bit random, but it's nowhere near as bad as 8 or 9, and it should take like no more than an hour. But thank you for watching.